Sportscast here. You can hear the upbeat music because it is Friday and it is the NFL Week 1. As I go solo this episode, Jeff could not make it on, but we got the spotlight of the week. I'm going to give you the top 5 games of Week 1. We're going to go into detail on those games. We got your headlines, which include Lamar Jackson. The Baltimore Ravens don't come up with an extension. Russell Wilson article dropped about his drama there and leaving Seattle. We got some MLB rule changes, and of course, a week in to the week 2 of the NCAA football, and that's going to come up right after this, guys. All right, guys, welcome in. We got the NFL's here. Game 1 was last night. We had a wonderful matchup between the Bills and the Rams. We'll get into that here in a second. I'm going to give you my top 5 games of the week. On Tuesdays, me and Craig, we gave you who we thought was going to win weeks 1. But I'm going to go through the top 5 games that I think is going to be the top 5 games. We're going to go into there, and I'll give you who I picked to win and go from there. We'll jump into the headlines after that. I hope you guys have had a great week. It's Friday. It is payday, and it's a good day. I'm off tomorrow, so we have a nice weekend planned. I'll go over that at the end of the show and what's in my locker. So welcome in and follow along, guys. I appreciate you. One of the games was a game that happened last night, and the top 5 games, and I'd probably put it number 1 on the list, was the Rams and the Bills. And that game was lopsided. If you were able to watch it last night, I wasn't able to watch it. I watched a little bit of the first part of it, but it was lopsided. I picked the Bills to win that game, and they dominated. I didn't think it would be a total domination that they had. In the first half, it was 10-10, and a lot of the Rams were still in it because the fact that, Buffalo had a couple turnovers. But if the Buffalo Bills defense plays just well all year long, it's going to be difficult to beat them. We know what they are offensively, right? We know Josh Allen's an absolute beast. We know Stephon Diggs is a great wide receiver. We know they've got weapons, and they put up some points, and they are fun to watch. And that defense is going to be the key maker this year for this team. And they came out and they got to Matthew Stafford. They hit him 15 times. They had 7 sacks, and they intercepted him 3 times. It was not a good game for him. I can't really kill Matthew Stafford if he's not being protected, because if you're not being protected, that takes away a lot of stuff. It takes away. You have no time to make your reads. You have no time to think back there. And he had a terrible game. Terrible game. Josh Allen almost threw for 300 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. He accounted for 4 touchdowns and threw for 2 interceptions. But the defensive Bills looked for real, and they did not blitz one time last night. They got him. They got so much pressure with just bringing 4, and that's what makes a deadly defense. If you don't have to send extra, and you're able to keep people in the backfield to protect and cover the wide receivers, it makes it really difficult for the quarterback. That's how you beat Tom Brady. It's not just pressure; it's pressure with 4, and you don't have to bring an extra guy, and that way you're able to protect. You're able to cover the wide receivers and not bring pressure, but get those 4 guys home. And that's what's makes it difficult. And that's how you beat Tom Brady. And that's how you can beat pretty much about any quarterback in the league. And last night, the Bills did just that to Matthew Stafford. And you got to go back and watch the tape or look at the game again, do we think that Stafford's elbow injury cost him? Do we think that he wasn't able to get this total zip on the ball and get the ball where he wanted it to be? That could be a big issue for them this year. Last year we heard about his injuries during the playoffs, and from what I saw, he had some throws that you kind of like, oh, that kind of looked bad, but they won a championship. So I kind of think everyone kind of put that on the back burner. But he had a bad game. This is game one. They played a really tough opponent, probably the number one team in the AFC and probably the number one team in the NFL, from what a lot of people are predicting them to do. So I picked them to win that game, and I was right. So I'll take that victory. But you Buffalo fans, this might be the year. I mean, I projected them to be in the Super Bowl versus the Buccaneers. Um, Craig projected him to be in the Super Bowl win, and I believe Jeff did as well. There's so much hype on this team, it makes me worried because when a team is so hyped up, a lot of times they don't win. Right, something happens and injury here, or they lose some games, or they fall out in the playoffs, and that's what I'm worried about with Buffalo. It's just game one. I'm not trying to oversell, overhype anybody, but they looked really dominant last night and they looked really good. So they look like a team that's going to be tough to deal with. And I just don't know. Um, I'm not going to sit out and kill the Rams. It was game one of the season. Matthew Stafford looked bad. They'll recuperate and they'll come back. I have them winning their division still. I'm not jumping off of that. But we'll see what happens. A lot of people are really high on the 49ers this season, even though they got a starting rookie quarterback. It ought to be interesting to see how good he is in leading that team in the 49ers. But that's game number one for me this week. Game number two, this one's a coin flip. The Raiders versus the Chargers. And the Raiders, we all know Devontae Adams went there. They picked up Devontae Adams in the offseason, and that hurts my team in the Green Bay Packers. But he went there to play. They got Derek Carr, which I think is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. They got Hunter Renfrow. They've got a really good tight end. They've got Josh Jacobs running the ball there. If they can get the running game going, they've got some good pass rushers. The question to them is they're going to be on their defense, and that's their secondary. But I really like what the Raiders have done. They've kind of going all in move and trading for Devontae Adams and getting this team some players. And this is a coin flip game. You got the Chargers on the other side. They're playing in Las Vegas, or not in Las Vegas, sorry, in LA. And the Chargers are a tough team. They're a team that I think going to make a deep run. They're going to battle the Bills for the best team in the AFC this season, in my opinion. They've got Justin Herbert, who is a fantastic quarterback. They've got playmakers. They've added on to this defense to make them more deadly. They added Khalil Mack to go along with Bosa. So I'm interested to see that pass rush. They added J.C. Jackson there to as the cornerback to help that secondary. They've already have players. So I think this is the team on paper could be one of the best teams in the NFL on paper. They've got to put it together. I think this year they will. Now, am I saying they're going to win the championship? I don't think so. Could they? Yes. The Chargers on paper could win the championship. They have a lot of talent. But I do have the Chargers winning this one. I projected them to win this one. They're at home. That's the reason I picked them. The teams at home more than likely win, and especially in the division. But this is a division that's going to beat up on itself. So the Raiders versus Chargers. I got the Chargers. I think that's a solid pick. The Raiders could come out and surprise us. So I'm interested to see what Devontae Adams is going to do. He's got chemistry with Carr, and we'll see how they use him there in their new offensive system. I got the Chargers winning that one, though. Game number two, three, I guess. Cowboys versus Bucks. This game is Sunday Night Football. It's the game that was last year as well. Buccaneers won that game at home. The Cowboys kept it close, and everyone thought, oh, we kept it close with Tom Brady. We're going to go to the championship. Well, sorry, Cowboys, that did not happen. This game is at AT&T Stadium. And there's been a lot of question marks on both sides of the ball for both these teams. You've got Dak Prescott question marks. And I'm telling you right now, Cowboys fans, this is the year for Dak Prescott to prove himself. This is it. Prove yourself to be an elite quarterback. Prove yourself to not need Amari Cooper, not need that um, great offense to be successful. You got Zeke Elliott question marks. They say he looks really good, but we've heard that before. You've got question marks of is CeeDee Lamb going to be able to be that number one guy? Can he take double teams? Michael Gallup's injury, your left tackle injury, your offensive line question is the biggest question mark of them all. And then you look on the other side versus the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers have had Tom Brady drama. Tom Brady left for 11 days. There is details about, Giselle might leave Tom and all that drama going on there. And you got injuries out the wazoo. And will they play? Now they say they're going to play, but Tom Brady needs a good offensive line to be successful. So if that offensive line's not there, I think the Cowboys could win this game. I am picking the Bucs to win this one. However, I think the Bucs defense from the last 2 years, you weren't able to run on them. I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to be successful running the football. And Jerry Jones and them and Mike McCarthy believe that running the ball is their identity, even though they pay their quarterback $40 million a year and it's a throwing league. They're still going to rely on Zeke Elliott. And if he's not rolling, he's not grinding in the first game, and you're going to force Dak to beat you. I think the Bucs will set up really well for that, especially on the defensive side. So I got the Bucs winning this one. It's probably a close one. I got like a 30-27 game. Give me the Buccaneers. The fourth game of the week, I got Packers versus Vikings, and this is a game that the Vikings are our only competition in the our division, the NFC North. The Bears are going to be a bottom 3 team in the league. The Lions are going to fight. They're not quite there yet, but they're going to put up a fight. The Vikings are tough. Okay, they have a good defense. They have good offensive weapons. Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback. You got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson. Okay, you got those guys on the offensive side of the ball. They changed to a offensive-minded head coach, which is fantastic for Kirk Cousins and his offense. They had a defensive-minded coach, Mike Zimmerman, who hated Kirk Cousins. Apparently, was openly talking about how he didn't like him. And what a difference that makes when you have a coach that's on your side, when you have a coach that motivates you to play good instead of one that hates you and doesn't probably talk to you as much as he should, or has a problem with everything you do. There's a big difference in how you can play. And the Vikings will give us a fight for the division this year. Sorry, Packers fans. It's true. I believe it to be true. I hope not. I hope they stink and then we blow away the division. I think we win the division. I do have the Vikings win this game at home. They got Zadarius Smith, and I know he's talked a lot of crap, and I don't like that one bit. And I liked him when he was on Green Bay. He left. He's come out and talked a lot of crap lately, so I hope he doesn't do good there. But he's healthy. He's good. There's a lot of question marks for the Packers wide receiver group, and we're gonna miss Alan Lazard. He's doubtful for the game with the ankle injury. Watson hasn't played all preseason. He might. I think he plays game 1, but he's gonna be rusty. The chemistry is gonna be off between him and Aaron Rodgers, and that relies on a big hole we got in the wide receiver group. We still got great running backs. We still got a good offensive line, and I'm really excited for this defense, guys. This defense might be the best defense I've seen Green Bay have on paper. Now they got to put it all together. But if they play their capability, I do believe we will have a top 3 defense. I do believe we have one of the best, if not the best, secondaries in the league if we play to the potential that these guys are so talented. So I'm excited to see this defense going into this season more than the offense. I think that's the first time I've ever said that about a Green Bay team, but I'm really excited for this defense. I do have the Vikings winning this one at home, a close 28-21 type of football game. And my fifth game of the week is the Chiefs versus the Cardinals. You got the Cardinals who have a lot to prove this year. They've had a lot of question marks. They've had a lot of drama with their quarterback, um, and 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 the management there. There's been a lot of back and forth. Were they going to get a divorce? If they get a divorce, where are they going to go with it? But they paid the guy. They're so they've got to be able to trust him and believe in him in a little bit if they paid the guy. Going up against Patrick Mahomes and the question marks of losing his number one wide receiver, going on the road against a team who I think is way overrated in the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think they're as good as they had it last year. So I got the Chiefs winning this one on the road, a tough game. I think Patrick Mahomes will miss Tyreek Hill. I've talked about that quite a bit. Our viewer Cat knows. Um, Craig knows. I think he will miss Tyreek Hill, but I do believe the Chiefs still have a good year and make the playoffs. I got the Chiefs winning this game against Arizona. I think Arizona was a fluke last year, and I just don't think they're going to be that good this season. I actually have them missing the playoffs, but that's a different story. All right, guys. Well, that's my top 5 games of this week for the NFL. I think that's going to be 5 great football games. Remember, me and Craig pick our picks on Tuesdays, and we'll come back next Tuesday and tell you how we did on that. Headlines of the week: Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens could not come to an agreement on an extension, and Lamar Jackson told them, "This is a date. I'm going into the regular season. I am not going to be talking about the contract. I want to focus in on um, I want to focus in on the season, right?" And that's a good decision. I like that a lot. I think that's smart. You don't want to put yourself in front of the team, and he wants to be fully into the season and not thinking about contract. So he's going to go into the last year of his deal. I believe it's his last year of the deal, and go from there. And the biggest holdup from what we've heard and the rumors floating around the league is the Ravens don't want to guarantee Lamar Jackson all that big money because the style of play he does, right? He has a more chance of getting injured and hurt, and they don't want to guarantee him 170 million and then him get hurt and not be able to play half the games. And I understand that. I get that point of view of it from the Ravens. I'm not a believer in Lamar Jackson. I'm not. I don't think he ever wins a Super Bowl. I think his offense is limited. He doesn't throw the ball as well as he should for an NFL quarterback. He's a great running back. Fantastic. I'm not a big believer in Lamar Jackson. Um, I don't think the Ravens. I think the Ravens think he's limited. Because if they don't think they were limited, why would they not pay the guy? Now the Russell Wilson contract helped bring the market back down for the guaranteed money. But I'm wondering if they get a deal done. I don't think they let him walk. That would be kind of dumb. But I just don't know what they're going to settle with. Now Lamar is his own agent. He's not. He doesn't have an agent. He's representing himself. And some people do that. Richard Sherman, I believe, did that, and some other players do it too. But just Lamar Jackson taking a risk. The way he plays, if he gets injured this year, it could cost a team not to want. Could cost the Ravens not to want to sign him back. Is he good enough to win? And they've given him no help this season. They traded away his best wide receiver. They still have a good tight end. The rushing attack will be healthy this season they all tore their ACLs last year. But I'm not a big believer in Lamar, and I think this organization has always ran through their defense. Right, this is a defensive minded team. This is we're going to play tough defense, hard to score on you, and we're going to control the ball. And that's the kind of offense they like to play, and they're going to control the ball and control the clock, and they're going to play tough nosed defense. That's what the Ravens have always done. Lamar, though, to me, is not good enough to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I think a lot of people have that opinion. There's a lot of people out there that love Lamar Jackson. I just don't want him as my quarterback, and I don't know if the Ravens want him long term with his style of play. We've seen his style of play before. Style of play doesn't win Super Bowls. Michael Vick never won a Super Bowl. RG3 never won a Super Bowl. Those styles, running the ball, getting hit a lot, um, you know, they just never have. And I think you're limited in what you can call, what you can do with Lamar, and I think the Ravens deep down know that, and I don't think they want to pay him. But they didn't reach an extension, so he will go into the season playing, knowing that this could be his last year in Baltimore. As we all know, Russell Wilson got traded away to the Denver Broncos this offseason. It's been the best pickup this last offseason for any team. Well, an article's come out that explains the reasons there was bad blood between him and Seattle and what kind of led to the demanding of a trade. And it all, there was some bad blood there, and it started when Russell Wilson came out, and usually he's very wholesome, he's very humble, he doesn't blast anybody on his interviews. Well, he came out and started blasting his organization about protecting him. He's talking about pass protection is not good enough, and he's been sacked over 400 times, and that's a lot. I think that's the most in the NFL from his time span in playing, starting in the NFL to now. 400 times he's been sacked. He talked about how he thought an MVP chance was taken away from him. He came out and they played half the year, and he was in the MVP talk. And he says because Pete Carroll took his foot off the gas, he didn't end up in anywhere near the MVP, and he thought that's on Pete Carroll, right? Which I totally get. I don't like Pete Carroll. He was mad at the teams went to Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes pro days. He took that personally, and so there's been some bad blood there for quite a while with him in Seattle, and I guess he didn't feel respected when you are the starting quarterback and you think I got plenty of years left. I'm a Super Bowl winner. I've been to the Super Bowl twice with him. He should be a 2-time Super Bowl winner if they run the ball Marshall Lynch at the 1-yard line, but that's neither here nor there. And you're going to go watch these quarterbacks to replace me eventually. You can't take that personal. I understand that. I also understand as an organization, you've got to look for the future too. So it's a little sketchy on that stuff. But Russell Wilson, I guess, didn't feel respected, and I think Pete Carroll's, was holding him back. In my opinion, I'm not a Pete Carroll guy, but he has. That's kind of come out in the article and just talking about maybe a little selfish and diva-ish type of player. And there's been those articles before where when he first got in the league, Pete Carroll, when they had the Legion of Boom and stuff, would not criticize Russell Wilson and kind of protect him from the team and his feelings. And maybe that's bad, but that's bad for him now, and maybe that's where he got his diva-ish type of personality or whatever you may call it. I don't know, but that's not the first time we've heard that from Russell Wilson. All that aside, I think he's gonna have a fantastic career in Denver, and he probably wins a Super Bowl for them. All right, well, the next headline, Major League Baseball has agreed to make changes for the 2023 season, and I think this is fantastic news for you baseball fans out there. There's no more shifts, and that is a big, huge part of this. No more shifts means balls are going to be put in play more, and that's what we need to see. Analytics have killed baseball's watchability for me. And it's either home run or strikeout. The pitchers don't, they don't let them go past 4 innings. That you can't, you don't have a pitcher out there. Back in the day growing up, you had a pitcher. If they didn't go at least 6 or 7 innings, that was a bad start. You wanted 7 innings. You wanted your setup guy to come in. And you wanted your closer to close it out. They don't do that anymore. Analytics have said this, and analytics have said that, and the ball's not put in play as much, and all this stuff. Well, no more shifts is going to have it where guys that pull the ball a majority of the time are going to be able to get on base. Joey Gallo, um, a guy that they shift on all the time, and these balls that were going to be hits and singles or whatever will turn into outs because of the shift. Now those balls will be able to be put in play and people will be getting on base more. I'm excited about that one. A pitch clock of 15 seconds is going to be you have 15 seconds to get on the mound and throw your next pitch. If there's no runners, with runners on, it's 20 seconds. They give you 5 extra seconds, and a batter must be in the batting box in the last 8 seconds of that clock. So I do like it. They're trying to speed up the game. Maybe the pitchers don't like this. Maybe this speeds them up too much, and they aren't able to really focus and think about what their next pitch is going to be, and they give up some more home runs or whatever. Maybe that's what baseball's going for. We got to score more runs. In the NFL, you score more runs; it's more entertaining. Maybe the baseball wants that. So this is going to help with those 4-hour-long games. They're trying to shorten the time for people that don't like to watch baseball for 4 hours. You have pitchers only get 2 pickoffs per appearance, and if you try and juke them out or you know pick them off after that, after a second time, it is going to be considered a balk. So that's one to watch out for as well. And then they're going to give they're going to give bigger bases. So I think that's more for player safety to give bigger bases, especially at first base when you're running through it. So I like all those changes. I think that might help. I don't really care about the pickoffs. I think that's just whatever. But it's going to keep a pitcher from trying to pick off the same guy multiple times. They want to see more stolen bases. What should be my guess for that is they can't pick me off too many times because then I could get this big lead and try and steal. So I like the changes. I don't know if you guys do, but let me know if you do. I like the changes they're making though. And that's next season, 2023. So that's something to look forward to. And finally, on the NCAA Week 2. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of good matchups. Week 1, we had some good matchups, and you'll get some good games in Week 2. I'm not saying you won't, but when you look at matchups and top 25 list and who we're going to see, we got the biggest game is probably Bama versus Texas. That's 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on ABC, I believe. But that is Bama's going to dominate them. I don't know why Texas wanted to go there and play in the SEC because they didn't win where they were. They're not going to win playing the bigger boys. That maybe this makes them get better. Maybe this makes them get tougher and play better. But Bama is going to absolutely destroy Texas, and it's going to be pretty bad. 17 Pittsburgh versus 24 Tennessee. Decent game, I guess. Pittsburgh coming off a win last week. And, this game, it was really one of the only ones that were the top 25 teams facing each other. A lot of the other teams are facing nobodies. It's going to be a big blowout Saturday. But Texas A&M number 6 is facing Appalachian State. And the only reason I put this on there is because Appalachian State put up 40 points the fourth quarter last week and almost came back and won. They lost to North Carolina 63-61 last week. So Appalachian State's one of those teams that could upset somebody. Do I think they upset Texas A&M? I don't think so, but something to watch out for. And then you got number 9 Baylor versus number 21 BYU. And BYU put up 50 points last week. Good win for them. They're going to be without their 2 starting wide receivers this week. So that's going to be a tough uphill battle for them to get past. That's just tough when you're losing your 2 number 1 wide receivers. That's going to cost you to struggle offensively. But that is all I got for you guys. It's the NFL. we're super excited about that. I got my Survivor League. We got 16 people now in that, and it's gonna be fun. If you haven't played a NFL Survivor League, it's super fun. And what it is, I'm gonna explain it to you because some people, I asked the guy then, he's like, "What is that?" So Survivor League is this, and these are the rules that we kind of came up with. So you you look at a matchup and you pick a team. Sorry, my eye itches like crazy. You pick a team you think you're gonna win. I think I picked the Titans this week. I think the Titans are gonna dominate the Giants. Excuse me. Um, and if they win, you move on to the next week. If they lose, you're out. Now it's $20 to buy in. That's our rule. You can make it whatever you want. Um, if you if you lose between weeks 1 through 6, so if the Giants beat the Titans Sunday, I'm out, or I can pay $10 to get back in. I cut it down half to make people want to buy back into it. And between weeks 1 through 6, I can buy back in. After week 6, if you lose, you're out completely, and whoever's the last man standing wins. But the catch is you can't pick the same team twice. So it is a little strategic. You want to have some teams left during the end of it, to some good teams left. So you don't want to use all the good teams up right away and then look and go, oh man, I should have kept somebody because I don't know who's going to win. So it's very interesting because there's a lot of upsets. So it was fun. We played last year. It was fun. We had about 8 or 9 people. Now we got 16. So I'm growing it, which is great and fantastic. And so if you are interested, start your own. It's pretty easy to take care of. I just had people send me their picks. I put it out on an email, let everyone know who they picked, and go from there. But it's a fun game. And then we play if you don't lose out between weeks 1 through 6. Last year I went 7-0. I lost in week 8. Um, I since I didn't lose my buyback between week 1 through 6, I had a special buyback between 7 and 13 that I could use if it went that far. And it was over by week 9 last year. So it's a fun game. I don't do fantasy football because that's just a lot to catch up with, or to keep up with. But and then I'm usually like in 2 or 3 leagues, and it's just a lot. So I just don't do that. But Survivor League is super fun, and it's not as tedious as it is as fantasy football is. But my locker this week, it's been a interesting week at work. Just been working. Had to run a different route this week on Wednesday, and but I'm off tomorrow. I'm off this weekend, and that's the first time in a while. But we're gonna have a good weekend. We got a trip planned down to Waco tomorrow. We're gonna go to the zoo at Waco Zoo tomorrow. We're gonna go to the Dr. Pepper factory. There's a place down there. It's a macaroni bar where you get to pick macaroni and put your toppings on top of it, and it sounds absolutely delicious. So we're gonna go there as well. Maybe stop by a couple different places and then come back. So tomorrow's gonna be a fun day for us. Probably tiring, but it'll be fun weekend for us and the Watson gang. And um, so that will be fun. And we started the Lord of the Rings show today. It was really good. It's I like that kind of stuff, Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and stuff. But I'm glad they're coming out with more shows that continue the story and show you kind of what happened. This is actually a prequel that started before that, before the rings were even made, and the one ring to rule them all and all that stuff. But um, I also watched the untold story of Donahue and him, bet him. What is it? Not betting. Let me bet on basketball games while being a ref in the NBA. Go watch it. It's really interesting. Um, it's a really good watch, and it goes behind the scenes of who was all involved and everything like that. So Jerry Donahue, they're coming out with a lot of these guys. So if you like sports documentaries, they're on Netflix. They're called Untold, and they're doing quite a bit of them. So go watch them and let me know what you guys think. But all right, guys. Well, that's your episode this week. Solo edition here with your host Brian. Episode 151, top 5 games of week 1. We're going to do this each week. I'm going to give you a top 5 games going into week 2, kind of predict who's going to win them, who I think is going to win them, and the reasons why. We'll give you the headlines of the week. We'll go over games that have happened. So it's that time of year where it is a wonderful football. It's coming into the cooler weather for most of us. And football, food, and family. That's all you can ask for. So, all right, guys. Well, God bless, and remember,